Hello everybody, welcome to Project Shop. My name is Mr. X and I will be hosting this circus tonight. Basically, I'm starting this channel to give back to, I guess, the community, YouTube, the internet. I've learned so much from it. I'm always doing crazy things in my shop. I am a recycler. I like to repurpose things. And we're going to get to that with this box and what it's for. We're going to call this Project Crane. This is for the crane that goes on my trailer. I got a whole bunch of projects, and I also have something really big I'm starting, and you'll see snippets of it, and it's going to be really cool. I think everybody's going to like it. So let's get down to this box and what it's for. This actually is the power relays and supplies for this crane. Now this crane I built, it started off as a cheap Harbor Freight crane. You can kind of see the original base right there. It's welded to another base with steel columns inside that I welded to reinforce, and I reinforced everything. Originally it came with a hand crank winch. That went away immediately years ago. And originally it had a hand pump hydraulic cylinder on there. No rotation, you had to push it by hand. So the first thing I did was put the electric winch on. Then I changed the hydraulic cylinders, and I originally put a motor on here, but it was only one drive, and it was like a circus ride, and I was slinging shit everywhere because it was way too fast. So eventually I built that, and we'll get into that in a second. Basically, I beefed everything up, supported everything with gussets and supports. Got a hydraulic pump, a winch. That's actually a winch motor over there. And made this cradle. This originally sat on my F350 right in the back, as you can see this cutaway over here for where the rear dually fender inner fender was, and this pretty much bolted down, sat on a cradle that stayed in the truck, bolted down through some fifth wheel holes that were in there, and 5 minutes I could unbolt this by myself and pick it up off of the truck. For the last year, it's been sitting on my trailer. Basically, there's two beams about that size that these lock onto, that goes across 4 pins, pins this to the trailer, 4 pins, pins it to those two beams. Within a minute, this could come off the trailer. Easy. It's self-contained. It has its own power source. We'll get into all that. And I really should have started the video when I took it apart, but whatever, we're here now, and we're going to show you a couple things that I did, that I upgraded. First of all, I cleaned and polished all the wheels. They look brand new. They're actually probably 8 years old. And I put a swivel, I don't know, let me see if I can zoom in. I put a swivel up here because when you extend the cable out real far and retract it back in, it would wind up twisting like that eventually and chafing the wire. So hopefully that'll work. We'll see. Greased everything. I put a pin here because this does have an extended boom. It never had the pin there, so if you tried to pull something straight on, it would just literally pull the boom out because of the way the thing works, the way the pulleys work and everything. It wasn't locked down. Now I can pull straight on. I actually cut these to size and pinned them finally. They always just kind of sat in there, and I would hit them with a hammer now and then. Here is a kind of a redneck fix. The cylinder was leaking. I really didn't want to take it off and take it apart and have it fixed. So basically, they're double acting cylinders. I'm only using a single acting. It uses weight. It just comes down by itself, basically from the weight. So it was leaking out of this hole. I basically just ran a line, and I found in the hydraulic pump there was a fit-in. I opened up and just ran it back to tank, so it'll just leak back to tank. And let's get into this drive mechanism real quick. This is actually the original winch, 2,000 pound winch from Harbor Freight. What I did is I took it all apart, I drilled out the can, I mounted a motorcycle sprocket, I believe from a Harley Davidson. I drilled and tapped the screws onto the can up here. And this is another sprocket with a sprocket and a sprocket, and it does pretty good. I built all this framework. Pretty much everything I built here was out of scrap that I had laying around. I got the hydraulics for free. I bought the winch. Originally had smaller cylinders. As you can see, all this was welded right here at some point, and if you can see this little hole, let's see, there's a hole there and it goes all the way through. And they're perfect. That pin, which is extended, used to go through there, and I used to have this cam system here that would cam the rams up and back so that I could set it down level or bring it up because the rams didn't have enough stroke to push the thing straight up and down. It was crazy. It worked. I didn't have any money at the time to do what I needed to do, so I did what I had, and pretty much this whole thing came about with nothing but scrap I had laying around the shop. And it's been 6 years, maybe 7 years now. A couple upgrades, but it's pretty much been the same. I broke the top off 3 different times. This thing just sits on top of it. This thing, sorry, I'm not paying attention to the video. This thing sits on top of just a shaft, a round shaft. And there's no bearing. I welded it solid here and so I could put grease. But inside the tube is a square stock that's welded to the bottom and welded to the top, which gives it more stability than it just being in there. And there's points all alongside where I drilled holes and welded it. And then inside that is a solid steel round stock. And that actually saved it from completely ripping off when I did break it. And it's kind of just, it just kind of lowers everything real slow. So let's get back to the box that I built. Here, I'll show you why I built it. This was part of the old harness switch. You can see how dirty and faded and how corroded. I mean, the switch just stopped working. I was using jumper cables to bypass it. It was getting ridiculous. Everything stopped working. This, as you can see, is a bus bar that I had for the positive. This switch would activate it. I got a brand new one on there. Indicator light, let me know the battery's on. Like I said, it's self-sufficient. I used to have a solar panel mounted up here to keep the battery charged. I have a bigger panel now. I'm gonna have 2 batteries on it. I used to have 2 batteries, and you can see what I did here. I just split the wire and I ran it down over top of one of these and just clamped it down and then ran it. This was actually the last one in line. I've been running it with 1 battery lately, but that used to be there. But I never liked it. There was always problems with corrosion. I didn't like splitting the wire. And all this stuff was mounted back here. You can see the holes. All the relays and switches were mounted back there. And it was just exposed and constantly giving me problems. So I've always wanted to put everything in a box. I came across this box somewhere, and it was some type of wireless thing, and here we go. So I mounted all of the relays. I built basically bus bars. This is what we're going to wire.